Let's get the latest on the New York Jets as they could have a GM hiring at any moment. Armen and Levack, 104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. Rich Cimini with us from ESPN New York. He's been working the beat hard. And Rich, Mike Maccagnan has been the leader in the clubhouse for the general manager position for several days now. What is the timetable on his stinking hire?
Yeah, it's kind of curious that they're waiting so long. He is the guy. I think they're working through some contract stuff. And, there could be an announcement today at some point. I don't think they'll actually have a press conference till later in the week. And he's there, though. I mean, he's kind of working. In fact, I reported a short time ago, he'll be meeting tonight with Todd Bowles, coming back into town for a second interview, so it wouldn't be a surprise if, there could be like a dual press conference later in the week introducing Bowles and Maccagnan.
What made Maccagnan the guy? Like, what made him the right choice for Woody Johnson and the Jets?
Yeah, I can answer that in two words. Charlie Casserly. Charlie is the consultant now for the Jets, hired to lead this search. And he and Maccagnan have known each other for 20 years. So Charlie is basically his mentor, and got him his first job with the Redskins back in the early 90s. And then when Charlie went to the Houston Texans in 2000, one of his first hires was Mike. So they've been together. They have a good working relationship, and so obviously Charlie's fingerprints are all over this.
Rich, any thoughts or any insight on Maccagnan and what we can expect? We knew that Idzik was the money guy that kept track of all of it. We had someone on yesterday who went through the draft picks of Houston and picked them apart, saying their only real good pick was J.J. Watt. Of course, we're overanalyzing this thing, but any thoughts on what we know so far on Mike Maccagnan?
Yeah, he's totally different from John Idzik, which probably makes Jets fans smile. But just in the respect that, you're right, John was a numbers guy. He was a bean counter, a paper pusher, if you will. Mike is a football guy. He's been scouting. He spends a crazy amount of time on the road every year scouting college players. So that's what he does. He evaluates talent. You're right. The Texans' drafts have not been great. I think I've read a couple of draft studies that rank them probably about the middle of the league. And, their first-rounders have actually been pretty good. They haven't really missed on any first-rounders. Of course, the transcendent player is J.J. Watt, which I'm sure everyone takes credit for in Houston. But the way you really evaluate the scouts of an organization is how they do in the middle to late rounds. Those are the scouts rounds where they come up with the gems. And if you look at the last three drafts, the ones that Maccagnan has been the director of college scouting for, they haven't come up with any. And their middle rounds have not produced any impact players, which has to be a little bit of a red flag.
Armen and Levack, 104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. Rich Cimini of ESPN New York giving us the Jets insight.
You said that we could very well have Todd Bowles announced as the head coach as well. All reports were saying the Jets really wanted Dan Quinn. Is it just a matter of Seattle's just too successful to get a chance to sit down with that guy?
Yeah, it's just a crazy way the rules are. I mean, it's these owners and GMs, they get antsy, when they can't, offer a guy a job, and with, most people, if they knew the Seahawks were going to lose on Sunday to the Packers, it'd be a different story. But I mean, there's a very good chance they're going to win that game, and that means you don't have to, you can't offer him the job until the Super Bowl is over, and teams are scrambling now to put together staffs and you might not get the guys you want if you have to wait another couple of weeks. So there's a lot of apprehension, a lot of concern. It's unfortunate because, Dan Quinn is worthy of being somebody's number one choice. And I wouldn't totally rule him out, but I just think the time factor is working against him.
So basically, Rich Cimini of ESPN New York with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team. Basically, Rich, the Jets need a head coach in here, and they might not be able to wait till after the Super Bowl. That's basically where they're at, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Okay.
Are you at all jealous of the guys in Buffalo now that they get to cover Rex?
It's they don't know what's going to hit them. His press conference is tomorrow at noon, and it's going to be classic Rex, and it'll be good for the fan base up there. Buffalo. They had a tough year in terms of some of the stuff that was going on up there, and their owner died. There's been a lot of the Jim Kelly tragedy. Him battling his cancers. Been led to some somber moments up there, and they had that outrageous snowstorm, which proved deadly. So Rex will be a breath of fresh air up there. The fans will embrace him initially. Now he's just got to win games. That's what ultimately it comes down to. It'll be fun. The Jets-Bills rivalry just went up a few notches in terms of entertainment value.
Any truth to the rumor that the Jets are trying to trade Geno Smith and Chris Johnson for Cardell Jones and Ezekiel Elliott?
Wow, I tell you, boy, those guys were impressive last night. Wow. I mean, they were just, I really hadn't seen a whole lot of Ohio State this year, but I was just so impressed with those guys. And, I think Jet fans would make that trade in a second. I don't think Chris Johnson will be back on the team this year, but Geno Smith will be, and, Jet fans know the deal there.
Any other personnel signings or not signings that you're kind of foreseeing at this point, Rich?
Just with the Jet, with Rex in Buffalo, it creates a different dynamic. So some of their free agents could go there. The guy that watches David Harris, he's a free agent. This certainly helps his leverage because people know that, he could go there. I mean, I certainly would expect Rex Ryan to make a move for David Harris, and the Jets may have seen the last of David. I think he'd like to finish his career in New York, but he and Rex go back, and he knows that defense up there, and that's going to be one heck of a defense. So that would be a tough loss for the Jets.
Wow, interesting dynamics. Rich Cimini of ESPN New York with Armen and Levack. Follow him on Twitter at Rich Cimini. All of his fine work, ESPNNewYork.com. Rich, you're killing it this offseason, man. Get back to work. We appreciate you.
Thanks. Appreciate it, guys.
The Green Godfather.